Hi guys, my name is Megan and today I'll be sharing with you some of my favorite books that I read in middle school and high school classes. So my list is kind of going to be a little all over the place because a lot of these books I think most of these I read in middle and high school, and these are just kind of books that I really connected with and I've fell in love with them, and they stand out because I liked them so much. You know, it was for a reading assignment in classes and I was shocked that I actually liked them, and I still remember them. I still think about a lot of these books looking back and I'm like, oh, that was such a good book. Why haven't I read it in a while? So the first one I'm going to start off with is one of the best classics you will ever find, and it's probably one of the only classics that I actually really do like, and that's going to be The Outsiders. I think this is the 50th anniversary edition of this book. I cannot tell you, I fell hardcore in love with S.E. Hinton after I read this book I think this was one that I read in 7th grade in my English class, or literature class, and I fell hardcore for this book. I still love this book to this day, and I think I've read almost all of S.E. Hinton's other books because I love this one so much. This is just one that if you're unsure of whether you're gonna like a classic, start with this one because it's small. It's only 180 pages. It's super small, but it's so packed with emotions and adrenaline and just one of the best books you will ever read. And of course, if you're gonna read this, watch the movie after, because the movie is just one of the best book to movie adaptations you will ever get. It's superb and the casting was just perfect in that one. Another one, so one that I don't have a copy of, and I'll put a picture up over here, is Speak. That one I think I read in my 9th grade advanced English class. I don't know why I connected so well with that book. That's one that I just keep going back to as that's what a good book is. That one will tear your heart out and make you think about things in a different way. I don't know, it was just something about that book that if you're looking for a contemporary book that's sad and also filled with a great emotional journey and dealing with depression and anxiety and a few other things that are dark, that is one that you should read, because that one is just I'm really glad that they made us read that book in 9th grade, because that one really hit home and it was just an amazing book. Also, moving on to another book that I absolutely fell in love with is The Kite Runner, and this one I also do not have a copy of, but I will put a picture over here. The Kite Runner I read that was my sophomore English class. That book tore my heart to pieces, in the worst yet best possible way, and that one still sticks with me. I still think about that book and I wish I had a copy because I want to read it again. That book is just so amazing. If you get a chance to read it in high school, do it, because that one will definitely change your outlook on war and the atrocities of what happens after a war ends, and just all around it's just an amazing book. So the next book that I really fell in love with, and this is kind of where my love of good sci-fi came from, is Dune. I read this the summer before my sophomore year in high school because it was on our reading list. It was one of probably a dozen different choices you could read for a classic, and this is about the only one that piqued my interest, and I loved this book. It was just an amazing adventure. I loved the characters and I loved the setting. If you're looking for the quintessential science fiction, this is the one to go to. I mean, it may not be exactly what you would want a high schooler to read, but this book was pretty fantastic and it really did set me on this love affair of good science fiction. This one I could not recommend enough, especially if you're going into high school and you're looking for something that's not quite teenagery, but this one is also, I think the main character starts out as in his late teens, but it's been so long since I've read this book, I really do need to reread it. But I really did like this one. It's one of my favorites that I read in high school. Another of my favorites that I read in high school that I don't currently own is The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things, and I'll put a picture of the book over here because that book, and I have to thank my junior English teacher, Mrs. McFall, because it was one of the first times that I could see myself in a character, because this character is, she's a bigger gal, but she also and she was quiet. She dyed her hair purple, which my hair was purple at the time, and I was oh my god, that was me right there, and this girl is a plus size gal and she's having problems fitting in, that book, yeah, it was the first time that I actually could see myself as being that character, and I was just so happy to read that book, even though it was kind of sad and depressing, but it was definitely like one that still sticks with me. And I know that the author just released like a follow-up book recently to that one, and so I want to reread the original and read the next one because that book just like is something that I still think about, and I'm so happy that Miss McFall made me read that one. And the last book that I'm going to talk about today is 13 Reasons Why. So this book I read also in my junior English class. We read it as a class. We would listen to the audiobook as well as read the physical copies, and I went and like bought my own copy so I could like read ahead because I fell in love with this book. And I honestly, there's not enough things that I could say about this book and my love for it that other people haven't already said about this. Something just clicked for me with this book. I mean, I automatically fell in love with it. I just don't know. This book was like one of the ones that, this one has stuck with me for a long time, and it really makes you think about things and what you say to people and the things that people carry with them, and you can't really know somebody at their like deepest level if you don't make any effort to actually get to know them. They did turn this one into a Netflix series, which is pretty awesome. I haven't watched season 2 yet, but I think they did a fairly good job of portraying this book. Yeah, this is one that will stick with you for a long time. But this one has always been like a favorite of mine, and again, I have to thank Mrs. McFall for having us read this one in class as a group, as well as listening to the audiobook, because that was just seriously amazing. And I'm sure there are a ton of other books that I read for classes that I'm forgetting about, but these were just some that like really stuck out as ones that I fell in love with, and I hope you guys do too if you read them, because they are all amazing books. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me for this, my favorites, I guess. I don't know. What were some of your guys' favorite books that you had to read for school? Or what are the ones that stuck with you even now as you're getting older? If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell to get notifications when I post new videos. And if you would like to follow me on social media, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys!